Next up, we're talking about the two powerhouses in our league, the Nets and the Warriors. Now, we could both bet that they're going to be active in the trade and the buyout markets, respectively. Now, who is more in need of bringing a new player to their team, though?
My opinion, who needs it more is the Nets. Granted, last year they had the best offense ever when all three of them were on the court. This year, obviously, they're not all going to be on the court all the time, especially in a playoff setting. Kyrie can't play in home games. Kind of just screws that away. But looking at the numbers, how they are, Kyrie hasn't played most of the games. Where are we at? So the Nets, they're 18th in defensive rating. Obviously, they can improve in defense, but I would say they need a top 10 defense, maybe 10, 11 and 12 to even get to where they want to go. Like that has to keep up with their offense. 6th in offensive rating, 11th in rebounding, which is surprising to me. I would have thought they would have been a lot worse. 18th in turnovers, so they need to clean it up. So there's a bunch of things that they need. But currently, where I see they can improve immediately, they're 14th in three-point percentage, but they're 26th in attempts. So they just need – I think they're not a terrible three-point shooting team. They just don't shoot enough. So I think a nice shooter, a more willing shooter can come out and help them. Like Dwight Howard, 67% from three. No, I just saw that. I was combing through and I saw Dwight Howard shooting 67% from three, 6 of 9 on the season.
What?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I thought that was insane. But no, realistically, I think a few of the guys, Luke Kennard would be a perfect fit for this team. I think if he could come in, play off the bench, I think that would be awesome. Or even be a sub for Harden or sub for Kyrie, or when Kyrie's not playing, I think it would be a really nice 2-guard. Does take away from your defense, doesn't help towards, but you get a more willing shooter. At most, I think they can put together, without trading Joe Harris, I think the most they can do is put together $10 million, which is still decent. You can still get a decent player on the trade market for that.
What about Terrence Ross? I think, Terrence Ross makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah, Terrence Ross would be a perfect pickup, too. I have that. I have one trade for each of these guys, but he was literally said Terrence Ross would be perfect pickup on my notes. So that's nice thinking. But the trade I have is Kelly Olynyk. So they get Kelly Olynyk. The Pistons get Paul Millsap, Bruce Brown, who's I'd like to think is the cornerstone for the Pistons. They look at that and they're like, we get a really nice defensive player. The guy can defend like bigs. He's a really impressive guy.
Yeah, he would have a big role in Detroit, I feel, for sure.
Yeah. And then Javion Carter and Day'Ron Sharp. So that trade works financially. They get 4 players. They probably waive Paul Millsap right away if he goes to the Pistons, but Kelly Olynyk I think would be a super nice fit. They need bigs. They let go of Paul Millsap. DeAndre Jordan's gone. They have what's splitting my name? LaMarcus Aldridge. And Blake Griffin. Those are their big.
And LaMarcus Aldridge is fresh off of a blood clot scare or a irregular heartbeat last year. So
right, and
I'm sure he won't. Shooter. I mean, he's good this year, but they just have a lot of guys on their team who are going to be needing rest, and they need someone else who can come in and help.
Yeah, and that's why I think Kelly Olynyk would be a great addition to this team. I think obviously he's a nice shooter. He can play well. He plays well in the playoffs. You remember the Celtics run with Isaiah Thomas against the Wizards? He played really well that series. So I think he would help out. Doesn't help out much on defense, but I think they've shown that they can build a decent defense around in the playoffs. They just need shooters on the outside with them.
What about Robert Covington?
I think Covington's taken a huge step down from shooting from when he was in Minnesota, even when he was in 76ers. I think he would certainly help out with their team defense. Like that, he's if they can get him. I just see, I mean, yeah, I could see the Trailblazers move. Like, if you just kind of filter this trade the same way, like, I would see the Trailblazers being like, yeah, we'll take Bruce Brown. I think he's a really nice piece. On the last year of his contract, I don't know if the Trailblazers would jump on that unless they're going to give him a contract in the offseason, which I'm sure they would. But, yeah, that would be nice. Covington, I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could see it. I actually think the Warriors need a trade more though, because they have such a young squad outside of their top three, which I remind you is full of injury prone guys. So, with Klay Thompson just being back, he's been awesome. Jordan Poole has have a case for most improved player for a lot of this season. And Juan Toscano Anderson, future slam dunk champion, he has been decent as well. But Andrew Wiggins does not deserve to be an all-star. Do they get someone better than Wiggins? I don't know, probably not. Maybe they get a role player, someone who's more around that veteran minimum type guy who can come off the bench. They kind of missing someone there, I feel. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga, solid. We haven't seen enough really out of him to assume he's going to be great in the playoffs, nor Moody. Wiseman hasn't played at all this year. They need more healthy guys. So I
Yeah.
think maybe another just guy who can play the big position is what they're going to need the most. And any maybe like 3-4 tweener is fine too.
Oh yeah. I actually don't. Surprisingly, I don't have them getting a big. So this is what I put down in my research. So they're first in defensive rating, 11th in offense, 29th in turnovers. They're a very loose team. They lose the ball a lot, like you said, a lot of young players, but they're 13th in pace, which I think for what they can do, if they can increase their pace and get more playmaking out there, that would be a lot better. I mean, they have the highest assist percentage in the NBA right now. So it's hard to say that you can get a better playmaker. But if you push that pace with that assist, then that's just open floor. It brings them back to why they were so good 3-4 years ago. So a few of the guys I think that would really help out are like Isaiah Thomas. Currently, he's with the Mavs. If they waive him, I think he's worth picking up. A guy to come off the bench. Jordan Poole, I don't think he can run this bench offense. He's a great six-man. But the six man doesn't have to run the offense. They just have to score in the offense. So I think a guy like Isaiah Thomas would be great. Even Jordan McLaughlin, he's really high. These are high playmaking, high assist, high pace players. I think Jordan McLaughlin would be a really nice fit.
They ain't getting McLaughlin. They can have my boy Beasley. They can give us back Steph Curry.
But even Alfred Payton, I always liked him. He's played with the Magic. He's not a good shooter, not the best defender, but he is a good playmaker and a high pace offense, and I think he would excel here. But the trade I have is the Warriors are making a trade with the Clippers, and the Warriors are giving up Otto Porter Jr. and Juan Toscano Anderson, right? And they're getting back Justice Winslow. This is a high pace player. He's played the point guard with the Heat, and they were actually pretty good when he did.
They really like him on the Clippers too. He's a great team player. He brings the most out of the guys around him.
Oh yeah, he's a wonderful piece to have. And I think if the Warriors added him, he's off the bench. He doesn't need to play point guard. He can play 1 through 3, maybe even 1 through 4 when they play a small ball lineup. And he's a good playmaker. I think he can really push the pace for them, and I think he'd help out a lot. He's a good veteran now.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, he's good. I mean, I like him. He's just really injury prone, but if you get him for like half season, he's not costing you money. So it's like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, both Juan and Otto Porter are expiring. You got to think Otto's not going to re-sign. I mean, he's shown that he can play better than a veteran minimum already this season. So I think not both of them are gone, and you get a Winslow who is on a 2-year contract. I think that's really nice.
Gotta love the pattern of playing like shit, getting benched, getting a minimum contract on a great team, playing solid there, then getting a great contract, and then it just repeats itself.
Trevor Ariza,
like these types of players, or they just get on the minimums, and then people value them because they're like, oh, he's so much better than that. We love him.
Yeah, like we see the potential of what you could be.
But moving on, obviously the Warriors need it more than the Nets because I'm right, Dalton's wrong, and we all know this.
What do you guys think? Who do you think needs help? What trades do you think will help them? Let us know.